Back here with Lynn. You guys are off a hot win at the EPRI Awards. Do you want to talk to people about how it started, how you applied, and really give people the understanding of how the awards happen and what's the competition like?
You bet. Yep, Jason. It started with an email I got inviting us to apply. So it took about 20 minutes to put together a little video in the back of the warehouse here and fill out the application form. And it turns out there was about 135 applicants for this Incubate Energy Award. So we were very lucky. It got the attention of the EPRI officials, and EPRI as an organization does the research and represents every electric utility in the U.S. So I don't even know if I really grasped the size of this opportunity when we first filled it out. But it's enormous. So we went through. We were whittled down to one of 17 finalists out of about 135 applicants. Then it went into a presentation stage with EPRI, and then we were dreaming of getting one paid demonstration project from EPRI to show off the Piranha HC technology. We actually ended up with 5. So more than we could have ever dreamed of. And I've known we were successful for a few weeks now, and I've been on Telegram there telling people, keep their fingers crossed and stuff. But I was just busting to tell everybody we actually won this. So part of the exercise was that we're the only piece of equipment that was successful. So we actually involve a physical installation. But with COVID, I had to be sort of quick on my feet to suggest that we do a local installation in Vancouver now, prove out the technology, and then when COVID is hopefully past us, we'll go and install those 5 systems in the local utilities that have chosen to go with us. So it actually worked out very well. And as I was telling you earlier off air, we have a building over in North Vancouver. We put the very first Sharc unit in 10 years ago. And it was built by Adara Construction. The owner of Adara is a fellow named Kevin Mahan. And I promised him at that time we would keep that building updated with the most current equipment we were making. So it's proven to be a great testing ground. We tested the first Sharc we ever made in there. We tested the first Piranha we ever made, and now we're putting in the Piranha HC. So also good for the building. They've won a total of 13 international sustainability awards for that building. It's probably one of the most awarded buildings in the city, and it's platinum LEED. So we're very excited to get it in there. One of the cornerstones of Sharc technology is that we're always trying to be smarter. So I think in a world where you can copy almost anything, it's inevitable that somebody is going to copy us or have something like us. But what I want to make sure is that we're the smartest piece of equipment in the world. So we're going to learn every minute of that building's operation. One of the things that's very important to EPRI is that we can program the Piranha to make all the hot water and not run during their peak power times. So what that means, Jason, is we give them load that they want when they have power available, and we take it offline when they don't want it, when everybody else is paying high prices for power. So it really fits right into the whole electrification model for utilities. And we, in October, when this project is over and we have all the information collected after 12 weeks of operation, we'll get to present to every utility in the U.S. at EPRI's convention in, I think it's Orlando or Chicago, I can't remember, but it's an incredible opportunity. It launches Sharc into a whole different ballgame. We are now accepted into the electrical utility grid.
Incredible. Walk me through, just to really capture for people. So 135 applicants, call that, 135 competitors. EPRI selects 8 to 10 people, I think you mentioned. What made them choose you? I mean, there's, like you mentioned, you're the only person with a physical installation. And so that means there's, well, either 7 or 9 other people that had other types of technology. walk me through the process of how the applications went from stage to stage and why they choose you, or chose you. What information did they give you as to why they did that?
Yeah, well, I think it becomes more important now than ever with electric utilities because if you can imagine, all buildings now want to get rid of their natural gas boilers. So they have to offset that load with electricity. So all of a sudden, the lines are too small. You've got substations overheating, and it's sort of a rogue load that you don't know when it's coming on, and you really can't plan for it. So what I presented to them is that Sharc is super efficient. We operate at, or Piranha is super efficient. We operate at 500+% efficient. So when you look at against an electric appliance making hot water that's just electric resistance, we're 5 times more efficient. But what we also offered for them is to learn the load. So most people just put a boiler in, it comes on whenever you want, and nobody knows really how much water they're using. So we're going to give them minute by minute operational data for the day. So I think, it's pretty much consensus that everybody gets up in the morning and showers and goes to work. But we can take all day to make that load once we know what it is. So we just want to make sure we have exactly the right amount of energy when people need it. And the bigger ramifications are on districts and multiple buildings tied together to do the same thing. So it's in the world going to get rid of carbon and go to electrification. EPRI really needed an appliance like ours, and they need that intelligence. So, I want to stay smarter than any other piece of equipment in the world. So it turns out to Jason, that one of the other winners of the EPRI award was from Edmonton. And they have a predictive analytics program and artificial intelligence program to predict outages and stuff. But I saw the company name, looked them up, contacted Myrna at Run With It, and we're going to work with them to get the analytics to apply our system everywhere in the world. And the effect on a utility is staggering, because all of a sudden it's a load they want and they can shed the peak power, but nobody knows how hot water is used in a building. You'd think it's pretty elementary, but nobody knows. And it's about 50% of the energy, somewhere between 40 and 50% of the energy used in a building goes down the drain. So it's probably a bigger impact than any other piece of equipment in the industry.
Oh, it makes sense. I think the smart element of it, right? Like you said, the data side is incredible. Being able to see when are people showering, when are people running their dishwasher, you name it, the typical time people eat dinner, use more hot water, obviously use more electricity, and these are going to be hot times. So it's awesome that you guys are able to kind of, give the information back to the building, but also use it to your benefit, which is fantastic. I guess walk me through the next step is, what are some of the good things, like, okay, you guys won an award, awesome. For the people that are saying, cool, it's just an award, what comes out of this award? Why are you so happy about it? What's the next step? Okay, I won this award, but what do I get out of it?
Well, the next step is that our system is now verified by the largest research body in the electrical utility business. So part of why they select companies like ours is because of the impact we can have within the electric utilities. So we will be introduced to the over 2,000 electric utilities. And one of the things we're going to do is work with this information we have, and it'll help them select the incentive they can put to install our system. So rather than wait around for them to do it, we're actually going to provide them with the information so they can incent our equipment to be installed in their utility. It's kicking the door down, and Piranha is forcing its way into those utilities. It is an enormous day. And back 30 years ago, when I was with Water Furnace, we won a similar award to this from EPRI. And it just launched the company, because all of a sudden you've got that rubber stamp from the biggest research company in the world that your equipment does what it says it'll do. and where do you get an audience of people that want your equipment?
Oh, it's true. It gives you something to show people and makes sales easier. I mean, do you want to touch on maybe what that award was 30 years ago at Water Furnace and what happened?
Yeah, well, it was an enormous step for Water Furnace, and EPRI made a significant investment in the company after they saw what the geothermal heat pumps could do. And they really launched us into the stage with every utility in the US could now get behind the product. So I'm not saying it's going to happen at Sharc, but Water Furnace, the shares went from 30 cents to $5 in about a 6-month period right after that award was issued. So it's going to have a very positive effect. I'm not sure it'll do the same thing, but I sure hope so. But it's an enormous opportunity, and every utility in the U.S. will now have heard of us. When I did my first presentation, I presented to about 60 different utilities online. The number one question was, why have we never heard of this technology? So we've just taken care of that issue right now.
Oh, it's a door opener, and I think that's exactly, what you're getting at. It's not only a foot in the door, it's you're kicking down the door. So I think that's fantastic. Is there anything else you want to touch on about, kind of the award and maybe some of the benefits about it?
Well, I think too, our new reps that we've signed, and you've probably seen the news releases, HTS and California Hydronics. So HTS is the largest equipment supplier in North America out of Toronto. Well, they're ecstatic because now they have the number one product in hot water that they're selling. And the same with California Hydronics. There's a state that's perfect. They're outlawing natural gas now in most parts of California, and they're looking for a high efficient way to make hot water. So the Piranha HC isn't just a hot water machine, Jason. It actually gives you the capacity unit in free air conditioning too. So California, you get a high efficient piece of equipment making your hot water while it's providing some of your air conditioning for your building. It doesn't get any better than that in my business. So you can tell I'm very excited about the award, and I've been busting for weeks to tell people, but Thursday, this will be Thursday morning you're hearing this, and I am absolutely delighted, and I've seen the effect it can have on a company.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you touched on a good part there. And these people are helping you sell the units. Well, hey, it's a lot easier to sell the best thing, right? For anyone that's obviously done sales or anything about sales, hey, it's easy to sell something that works, and something that has a seal of approval from EPRI is fantastic. But I guess we'll leave it here.
Thanks, Jason. Good talking to you again, and we'll talk to you next week.